Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right, so I've just muted everyone. I'm happy to hear that you are able to hear me and see me and all set on the technical side. So muting everyone means that I'll be the only one to be able to speak through this session. And I'm happy that some of the practical things we do, the demonstrations we do during the Facility Management Mastercraft Diploma program is one of the prelude you saw, in today's session. And thank you, Faratolu Yesaya, for that wonderful, tutelage for the FM Mastercraft Diploma students. We take you around to see how facilities are managed properly. We don't only talk to you about the theory and practice, we take you to demonstrate what we're talking about, and that's what the FM diploma does. So if you have, been in facility management, if you have an ambition, aspiration to become one of the best in the industry, if you want to, get your career on an upward, spiral, you need to, build that foundation, that intellectual foundation, that practical exposure foundation you need for that career advancement. So that's what the FM diploma will do for you. We've been looking in the last few weeks, we've been looking at, the history of what the FM diploma has been, the data around, the progress of our students and graduates. We've been doing surveys just to take a look at what's been going on, to see what has worked and what hasn't. And we're putting together fantastic improvements. So if you were thinking about, taking the FM diploma, and there's no better time. We are working on completely revamping the content, improving the curriculum. And for all of those who have, finished the FM diploma, you are still in the portal, you are still in the learning management system, you have access to revamped content, and we'll still keep giving you exposure to the improvements we're making on the program. And on the alumni level, there's, fortnightly, there's a webinar that brings in one experienced, teacher to take on the topic and discuss with the entire alumni. And I'm sure, those who've been attending those sessions have been having a good time. This Saturday is another one. The invitation to attend that session and every 2-week session for the FM Mastercraft Diploma alumni goes out to social media and everywhere. So if you follow Max-Migold, you will get hooked up to that alumni, and you'll be able to participate in some of the public forum. But in terms of the juice, the real meat of the interactions and networking and collaborations within the industry, you have to actually be an alumni to be in the group. Okay, and that is the biggest gathering of facility managers in one platform in the country. So if you want to belong, you know what to do. Sign up for the FM diploma. The next batch starts on the 9th of September. So we're counting down to just a few days to the 9th of September. So if you have friends, if you have, relatives, if you have people who want to have the upward turn they need in their career and their profession, please refer them, get them all connected to take the FM diploma. All you need to do is go to promo.facilitymanagementcourses.com, promo.facilitymanagementcourses.com, sign up, pick that link up and share it as widely as possible. We need as many ambassadors as possible to get this word out. The cost of the training can be managed, can be brought down if we all can work together to get those who need to know about it, hearing about it. So it's very important that we do that little bit, especially when you manage teams, you have people in your organization, you have people you talk to in whatever network you find yourself. Just make sure you keep, propagating the values of the FM diploma. And we're sure this will bring more people into the fold and make our industry more robust and more, bring it out of, into limelight, out of obscurity that it is right now. So today, I try to take something that it's, there are certain topics that I take that is almost like, so this is like my secret, okay? I know for every profession, when you are the expert in something, you always like to give out the things on the surface and hold back to some of the things that make you different, that makes you unique, that gives you the edge, right? So one of the topics, some of the items contained in today's lesson is, is that kind of sauce. So if you are here, you're in no better place right now. Okay, so congratulations for making it here. And if you have friends who should be here, who are in the industry, who are aspiring to be in the industry, it's not too late to drop the YouTube link or the Zoom link and get them all here while this conversation is ongoing. And if you're not participating in the facility management training community that we have created on Telegram and on WhatsApp, and then we have the facility management community on our Facebook group, that's an international group, having people from all over the world. Please, this is a time for you to. I would ask the team from Max-Migold to please drop the link to joining link, create and drop a joining link for the Max-Migold training WhatsApp, Max-Migold business and training Telegram, as well as the Max-Migold business and training Facebook group. Can we have those on the chat right away so that those who are able to join should join? We have a very, wide approach to accepting people who are wanting to learn and improve themselves. And we provide these platforms to give you direct access to us. Remember that every content that we cover in this series are all available on our YouTube page, YouTube channel, Max-Migold channel on YouTube. We are simultaneously streaming on Facebook, Max-Migold on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Paul Erubami, pages on LinkedIn as well. So any device you have, any platform you have, just connect with Max-Migold, connect with Paul Erubami, and you have access to not just this session or all future sessions, but all previous sessions that we have had in this space. So you can brush up and become the better you. So we're talking about operational excellence. So, how do you understand the concept of operational excellence? What are the components, key elements of operational excellence? What challenges would you need to overcome to scale into the realm of operational excellence? And that's what we're trying to cover today. Doing facility management as someone who runs the operation by reactively dealing with issues, or one who have a system in place, right? Processes. Having the systems and processes in place is basic for us in FM, which means having the right documentation, your asset register, your commission assessment, as good drawings, your site layout, your service scope, service level agreements, those things that give you understanding of what you should be doing, as well as procedure and process documents, how tasks, maintenance tasks are performed for this and that equipment, how requests are made, basically process steps of how things are done. Those are also required. Then you have systems like health and safety system, you have auditing system, and so on and so forth. They are prerequisites to be in place before you can now start talking about operational excellence. If you don't have systems and processes in place, you can't be talking about operational excellence, all right? For example, if your maintenance is based on something breaks, you fix, you don't have a routine process for checking to be sure that things are not broken, that they are working well, and they'll be useful or available when somebody needs them. Doing routine activities to ensure that they stay so, that they still, continue working, and having a history of those routine activities recorded and that can be referenced. Those are basic introduction to process and system. But when we're talking about operational excellence, we're talking about what you can do to improve your processes, systems, and behaviors, work habits, to achieve the highest levels of efficiency and effectiveness. How can you drive consistent delivery of high quality services? Consistent delivery means that you're not only good for customer group A and certain customer group B and C don't like what you're doing, or you're good in this scenario or at this time and you're not good at that time. Consistent delivery of high quality service means most, if not all, of your customers appreciate what you are doing, and they can give you a pass mark, excellent pass mark for your level of service. And then we have the need to reduce operational costs, which is something that I believe many of us can relate with. As facility managers, operational cost is a big aspect of our organizations, and we make or break our organizations depending on how well we understand the impact of operational costs. So we want to reduce those costs. We want to improve value for our organization, all right? And by doing that, we want to ensure that there's occupant satisfaction. Remember, 2 sessions 2 weeks ago, we talked about introduction, and one of the things we defined was facility management as a profession. What do we enable for our organization? We enable we create the improvement of well-being of the users, the quality of life of users, as well as the productivity of the core business. That's an ISO definition of the purpose of why we do facility management. So occupant satisfaction is a key component of why we are doing the things that we do in the organization. And then support long-term sustainability of the facility. It's not enough to have a facility that runs today, but we are not just running today to break down and end tomorrow. We are ensuring a continuous flow of good practices. So that's what I'm going to be covering today. What are the things that we should have in place to sustain good practices on and on in our organization? All right, so what are some of the core principles of operational excellence? The first one there is customer value. Are you the only one that feel that what you are doing makes sense, that adds value to the customer? Are you always trying to argue with the customer to shove down their throats how important the work you are doing is? No, it is the customer that defines or agrees to the value you are bringing. So if you don't have a full understanding of the customer requirements and able to create solutions at the lowest cost to meet that customer requirement, forget about customer value. So that's number one principle. Then process efficiency. The processes that you deploy, I talked about, all the process for maintenance, process for procurement, budgeting, all kinds of processes that you have in your organization. Are they efficient processes? There are some processes that are actually time wasting. There are some steps in the processes that you should basically look through and decide that these are not working for you and take them out of the process. And then continuous improvement. This is a core principle of operational excellence that you cannot push down. The way you do things today should be better than the way you were doing them last year. And don't plan to do them the same way next year. That's the whole idea of continuous improvement. I'm always coming back to say, how can I improve on the way I'm delivering on results? How can I make things better for my customers and for my organization? Continuous improvement requires you to look back on the things you are delivering on an ongoing basis. Continually, take reports that shows you what you are doing, compare it to what the customer is expecting, and continually look at that gap and say, how can I close this gap? By the way, what you are delivering to meet customers' needs today that gap will not be the same for tomorrow because the customer's needs will also change. Their preferences will also change. At some point, what you are delivering, if you keep it the way it is, you will fall behind. So I always use this illustration of somebody standing on a carpet, right? If you're standing on a carpet and you're standing still, you're in one place if that carpet or that floor remains still with you, right? But if that carpet or that floor is gliding or sliding backwards or forward rather, and you are trying to stay still, you automatically see yourself moving backwards. So in essence, continuous improvement means that you must stay ahead of the curve. You must keep looking for ways to do things better. And then proactive problem solving. Why do you think the customer should first know there's a problem? Why should the customer actually experience a problem? Is there any system you can have in place as part of these principles we are looking at to anticipate and put processes or actions in place to ensure that the problems are not the customers don't experience them? Can I know upfront that a drainage is going to be blocked because maybe certain building materials were used, behavior of occupants, putting all kinds of stuff into it might be an issue and so on and so forth. Those can be situations where I need to proactively act before even anybody notices that something is possible to go wrong. Then I must streamline operations. This ties in with process efficiency. All right. Don't create cumbersome systems, cumbersome processes or steps, unnecessary actions in the process of delivering services. And then minimizing waste. This is waste in all ramifications. This is the major aspect of core principles of operational excellence. Can you pick up things that are wasteful? Now, what do we commonly waste in our organizations when delivering service? One key area where we should watch out for waste is time. A task that should take 30 minutes, you are doing it for 2 hours. Among artisans, among cleaners, among security, among managers, almost everybody just waste time. Get it done because time is money. We also waste materials. Maybe we rush into things and then realize that, oh, that's not what I should be doing. And then I have to scrap certain things and start afresh or get more. Or we order more than we need. And this can be everything from fabric to make stuff, food that you eat, materials, even printing paper. You didn't set controls in your printer, and every little test leads to an error where 100 pages are printed before somebody realized that wasn't properly formatted. A common case in point here is when you try to print an Microsoft Excel document and you didn't format it properly, and then you just send to print and you see 5 of the columns in this page and the other columns in the next page, and you're printing 40 pages of that. By the time you are done, all of them are wasted. All right. And then what other wastage can we pick up? Can we pick up wastage in our energy use? A big part of what we're doing today is we don't have visibility of our energy use. Our energy is just being used, and at the end of the month, we pick the bill at the aggregate point, at the metering point. That's where we get the bill from. We go and pay. Can you, dissect by setting up a energy management system in place that you can see everywhere energy is being utilized? It can be easy. The cost of using IoTs and stuff to identify energy wastage is not so heavy on us, as it was before. Except, of course, now that we are dealing with massive devaluation, we still import everything. So what was very cheap for us last year, January, has tripled in costs today. So we might say, oh, well, technology is expensive because we're still importing them. But we're looking for solutions to make these things easier to create and adapt. Waste itself should be minimized. The things that you call waste, your refuse, your sewage, slurries, your stormwater, minimize them. Whatever can be reused, whatever can be recycled, whatever can be repurposed, you think about all of those as part of this core principle of operational excellence. It saves money, it saves the environment, it brings about a good reputation for your organization, and it also elevates your standing in the profession as an individual, as a professional. Ensure safety and compliance. Penalties are not nice. Fines are not good. So you may think that guys that come to put sticker on your gates and your doors and impose fines for environmental infractions, they are doing something bad to you. They are not doing anything bad to you. You have been negligent, and so they come to place such fines on you. Your organizations will always remember how you cost them that money because you didn't know or you didn't think about, proactively going to get certain licenses, permits, and doing certain certifications to ensure you are in compliance with the laws of the land. The building code is your playbook. It's all designed for the facility manager. It wasn't just, the architects use it, the planners use it, the surveyors and all that, they use it, but the FM sits back. It doesn't understand what codes are affecting. All these professionals in the business environment work for you. They work for the FM. They're all doing what they are doing because at one point they will be done and they will hand it over to the facility manager. So we are the reasons why the business environment exists. So when it comes to safety and compliance, as for compliance, the laws are already there. Be familiar with them. There are so many agencies in Lagos that regulate the business environment. You cannot be ignorant about them. Research them, understand what regulations they are making, and try to comply. If there's an accident today, the first investigation they will do is, where's the FM? What has it done? Does he have this and that documentation? Has he done that and that check? Has he done that certification, right? And then the safety. We, facility managers, are liable for the safety or health of those who use our facility. So if somebody gets an injury, becomes ill because he was exposed to something in our buildings, you probably don't know any FM that has gone to prison yet for professional negligence, right? You probably don't know yet. But that is not something that is going to be very far away, because sometimes you hear of elevator collapsing and somebody dying in it, and then there's a long twist of political investigations that leads to nowhere. But at some point, there's going to be a professional, responsible who is going to take the penalty for that, because that's what the law says. It's already there. Align facility management practices with the broader organizational strategy. This is key to operational excellence. You cannot say I'm effective if what I'm trying to do is not aligned to what the organization is trying to achieve. Every organization has a reason for their existence. If you are the facility manager, everything you are doing in facilities must support, must add value. So if I provide vehicles, if I provide rooms for people to sit and sit chairs, and then air conditioning and lights and water and all that, right? Can I connect every provision I make to something the mission is trying to achieve? The mission wants to attract good talent, the best talent in the industry. We want the best, highly skilled people to work for us. So while the HRO is trying to advertise and interview, the FM is trying to make sure that the ambience of the environment is so good that when this guy is coming for interview, they're telling themselves, this is where I want to work. This is where I want to work. Who is doing that? It is the FM. He understands that the presentation of the atmosphere, the ambience of the environment would attract this good talent to work here. Let the HR do all their interviews and stuff and be screening the best talents. When people come to a place and the place is dirty and smelly and behaviors there does not align to their personal principles, oh, this place is rats, I'm not working here. No matter how much they're offering to them on the period, they probably won't come. So FMs, think above the mundane day-to-day tasks that you perform. Ask yourself, this one that I'm doing now, what value does it add to what specific goal at the strategy level in my organization? This is very important as a core principle of operational excellence. All right, so how? We've talked about the core principles. That's the strategic why we do what we are doing now. what are we supposed to be doing? Process efficiency and optimization. Refine and optimize process with workflows. Make sure the things you do don't stay in your head. How do we do? So make a list of all the activities you do and create workflows for each one. Step 1, for this activity, we do this. Step 2, we do that. Step 3, we do this. That's basically workflow. And that's how we achieve that task. Do that again and again and again and again for as many activities that you perform or undertake in your organization or your operations. And before you know it, you have a, what do you call it, a playbook or a standard operating procedure. So when somebody says, oh, where's our SOP? We have SOP. SOPs don't just drop from the sky. You know, there are things that you create because you understand what you are doing. So SOPs start from you documenting how you are doing it. It doesn't matter whether what you are doing is nice, whether it's efficient, whether it's wasteful, just document it first. Once you've documented it, the next step is what we call the value stream mapping of that process. So I now look at, okay, so when we want to change light bulb, for example, as electrical maintenance activity, step 1, we check in the store whether we have that bulb. Step 2, somebody takes it down. Step 3, the bulb is installed. And then step 4, we ask the customer, to check it and see that the bulb is working. So I've created a simple 4-step process for replacing a light bulb activity, right? So if I look at that process, what is an action that I'm taking right now in the process that is not a value-adding option or that is stretching the process unnecessarily, right? So that's what I'm doing. Something that is non-value adding, I circle it. I say this step can be removed. I can rearrange the steps to eliminate redundancies. If I first go and check before coming back to make a request for approval, and then I have first approval and second approval, right? Maybe that's the step I want to use. But on the system right now, I'll first of all make the request for the approval. By the time it gets to store, before the store person will now check to be sure that it's there or not. And if it's not there, somebody has to do a procurement request. I start another process of getting approval for procurement again, right? So why don't I change that process and start from checking, right? So I will check with store first. If it's available in store, I go through the process of approval to release from store. But if it's not available in store, I go through the process of procurement. So because of value stream mapping of that process, I am removing redundancies. I'm not doing things that are not necessary. Why would I go through the process of trying to get something out of store, only to find out that store doesn't have it before I answer the process of trying to procure it from outside? Those are what we're talking about, operational efficiencies, eliminating redundancies, implementing best practices through benchmarking. This is a whole a big area of process efficiency and optimization. Benchmarking means that you can recognize other people, whether in your organization, your department, other organizations, in the industry, who are doing things that are giving them the results that you desire. If there's a result you desire, people are getting, customers tell them they are very professional, they are doing their job well, praising them. People are being told, people are achieving reduction in costs per square meter for cleaning, cost per square meter for energy, cost per kilowatt hours for energy provision. People are, getting, all kinds of results. And you ask yourself, what exactly are they doing? First, understand what you are doing. So benchmarking starts with you. I know my process, I know my activities, I know the results I'm getting, but I'm not satisfied with results for this and that activity. But I know these people are doing better. How can I, tap into what they're doing well? So I bring my own data. Of course, it's a sharing program. I share with them. I get their own data. I now compare. It is that comparison that helps me know that, oh, well, this best practice that they are deploying, I don't have it. For example, somebody is always suffering from diesel calculations not adding up. Those calculations are not adding up because every time you buy diesel, you just use dipstick and then you run it and then you use bucket to take it from here to there. And then by the time you're trying to add up the minus and plus does not make sense anymore. It looks as if something is missing in between. But another facility where their best practice is that they have installed a monitoring system that monitors the levels on every tank, so that as gen is on, as it's running, they are taking that level difference to account for the one that's being consumed, and there's accuracy in their numbers. That's the benchmarking best practice. So I picked that. Okay, management, I want to deploy a monitoring system for my diesel system, right? And I'm proposing this because I've seen that it works. These are the problems I have. These are the solutions I'm seeking, but I can't do it if I don't have this, monitoring system. And these guys have done it, and these are the results they have. That's what benchmarking does for it. It adds credence to your investment. It adds value to your thinking that your ideas are innovative. It may not necessarily be innovative unless you have something to benchmark it against. Okay, and you could benchmark costs. How much you currently spend on this, how much you currently spend on that. Are you interacting to know whether somebody is taking you for a ride or whether you're getting value for the money you are paying, and so on and so forth. So in all, efficiency and optimization, the goal is to reduce downtime and improve service delivery. Okay, so that's what we're trying to achieve with that. All right, and then you need to deploy, for operational excellence, quality management, and continuous improvement. I've talked a little bit about this, but the real ideal is, do I understand what high quality means? Can I define it? Can I paint a picture of high quality? There are standards at multiple levels. As a facility manager, you're asking yourself, what standard am I working with? Now, the lowest of standards you can work with is what we call the regulatory standards or the compliance standards. The regulatory standards are the standards set by law in the building code and other agencies' regulations that says you cannot do below a certain level. A few of those in the built environment includes the regulation against open defecation, the regulation against pit and latrines, the regulation against running your effluent, your sewage into the public drain, and so on and so forth, right? So there are so many regulations that gives you that you cannot behave below a certain level. If you are just complying with standards, you are not breaking the law. You are not doing better than the minimum. We will say you are at the you are meeting up with regulatory standards, right? Now, as a professional, you have to be aware of additional standards that you'll be required to work with. For example, a customer may have his own preference. That customer's preference creates a standard. So if I'm working for Shell or I'm working for Balogun Market, right? There are two different customers. While I know that I cannot work below a certain standard because of the law, which is the regulatory standard, I can work for Balogun Market with a different standard and work for Shell with a different standard, right? So that's just the thing you have to understand. But each of these customer standards must all be at different levels above the minimum, which is regulatory standard. So if a customer is trying to make me work below regulatory standard, I'll say, no, sorry. Professionally, I cannot operate at your standard, right? Your standard is below what the law permits. Okay, so that's what we should always consider. Standards, different corporate organizations have different standards. So I can have 5 contracts with 5 customers. All the customers have different standards. My own job as a facility manager is to understand their standard and deliver to maintain that standard for them. I cannot impose Shell standard on Balogun Market standard because they can't even pay for it, right? and I could break many things. I could disrupt their operations if I try to impose such a standard. So in terms of high or low, I will tell you what a customer defines as their standard is high standard for that customer. There is nothing like customer A standard is higher than customer B standard. And this is very important for facility managers. Customer A has his standard. His standard is high. Anything below what he has asked you to do is now low relative to that customer. You cannot use that customer's standard to think about the next customer and say, these people, their standard is very low. No. Their standard is their standard. Meeting up with their standard is called maintaining high standard, provided you have carefully understood what they want. And so this is now the foundation of customer service. Customer service is not about, providing service and following up and being nice. No. It starts with you understanding their standards. Because nothing you design to do, nothing you offer should vary from what they really, really, really want, right? So in essence, I'm trying to ask them first, what do you need? What are you trying to achieve? In terms of scope, specifications, level of service. That is what I used to create my understanding of their standard. And that's what I used to design the service I'm going to deliver to them. So once I design the service I want to deliver to them, I now have a communication flow, process, information exchange, and so on and so forth during the delivery process, up until I'm done and I receive feedback that I can use to plug back into my earlier understanding and see if I've been able to meet up in my execution exactly what I understood, from my expectations gathering from them. So customer service is not just, smiling to people, and it's a lot more. It's a technical process. Expectations, all the way to delivery, all the way to survey for outcomes in terms of what have I actually done. And in all of this, I must have a system for continuously improving my processes. Operational excellence really is, this improvement, continuous improvement is core to operational excellence. And like I said before, even when dealing with quality, you must align with organizational goals. Don't get conflicted about who your customers are. Sometimes the organization has a goal and the individuals in the organization who you are working with, they have another agenda. And if you get it twisted, you may get confused as to what your real work should be, because at that point, you will be working at cross purposes. Okay, so I want to meet the requirements and needs of all the users, but I want to ensure that I'm in alignment with my organizational requirements. Okay. All right. A key aspect of operational excellence is your cost. I cannot be so good. I do my job so well, and then I run my organization on the ground. I use up all their profits to provide excellent services. No way. Operational excellence requires that I can control costs. I can manage finances effectively for the organization. So I must have a process in place for monitoring costs for financial health while striving for operational excellence. It's a balancing act on an ongoing basis. You're good at your job, not at any cost. Because most organizations you work for, they are going to be cost constrained. I mean, you won't need any form of professionalism if you can have any amount you want to do anything you like. There will be no need to even come for the mastercraft training. There will be no need for you to have processes in place, because you can just dump money at everything that you come across. But everyone, whether profit organization or non-profit organization, requires that, control of expenses. There's always the bottom line, whether you like it or not. Okay. So to achieve this, you have to have careful budgeting, proactive, well thought through, structured, well-researched budgeting program that helps you to use, tap into the data of previous expenses versus goals, achievement data, compare that to your forecast of future needs and future costs, and then create a pattern that helps you move seamlessly, from budgeting from year to year. And then when the budget is in place, it's been approved, you are now on course, have a system for monitoring expenditures. Don't be surprised by, the money budgeted for this is almost gone and we're just in the 8 months. No, don't let that surprise you. You must monitor your budget, your expenditures on a month-to-month basis. All right. Your key goal is to ensure that in preparing your budget, you have saved costs already. What you are now doing in implementing your budget is to ensure that you do not have wide deviation from what you budgeted, whether positive, whether plus or minus. Deviation is what you're trying to avoid in budget execution. So you keep track, you keep tab on every expense. And then there are certain expenses that when you are making them, they are investments by themselves. Technology, training, infrastructure, things that will give you, operational efficiency, cost reduction, sustainability credits in the future. If you see these investments are just expensive, or you couldn't make a proper business case to show that if you put money in them now, that money is going to come back multiple folds, then you'll be making a mistake. So part of cost control is to spend money, but spend money on what? If I gave you a proposal today to set up an energy management system for your organization, you currently spend 10 million a month in your energy consumption. And I want to give you a system that will probably cost you maybe 15 million or 20 million even, which is like 2 months energy costs. But forever, you will be able to reduce your energy consumption by 30% perpetually, which means in 6 months to 9 months, you will make that money back in savings. Can you make that case to management? Because that's where the investment talk comes in. That's where it comes in, because if you cannot model that cash flow that comes out of that investment, nobody's going to give you 15 million. Everybody will just, you know what? No, they just keep spending 10 million per month, right? Let's not bother about investing in 15 million or 20 million to reduce the 10 million per month. Okay? But if you're able to make a case for spend 20 million and we save 3 million every month, in less than 1 year, we save the entire 20 million in multiple folds. That is strategic investments. Learn to be able to communicate. And that's one of the things we do in the FMR Secret Diploma. We have a business case session where we walk you through the methodologies for pulling successful business cases for strategic investment like this. Then entrench cost consciousness by policy. Make it a policy for everyone to always have cost consciousness. And if you build this into your team, what you're going to be having is every time something needs to be done, someone will come up with multiple approaches, a high cost approach, a low cost approach, and a zero cost approach, always. The difference will be the risk level, the speed of achieving success, all kinds of considerations will be there, but there will be options. So if you have the money and you want to go for a high cost approach that gives you quick returns, that gives you value that you can measure, then go for it. But if not, by all means, go for the low cost approach. Now, you would have built this into the team. Everybody in the team now understands how things run in the organization. They just know that we cannot just come up and say, I want to spend this. You have to have analysis. You have a process for deciding which one is the most effective, right? That has to be built into the psyche and mindset and processes. That's why it has to go in by policy. And then, finally, when it comes to cost control and financial management, model integrity. Facility management is a very corrupt profession, unfortunately. it saddens my heart to talk about this, but this is our reality. Because of the myriad of opportunities for us to be involved in purchasing and spending, there's a lot of temptation, a lot of temptation. Vendors willing to do anything to be the one, in your good books to be awarded the contract. And every time there is one form of kickback or favor done back to you, your company pays for it in the services that have been delivered. It doesn't come from nowhere. Nobody does business to make losses. So every time you see yourself being tempted here and there, make sure you draw a clean line of integrity and ethical behavior, because the organization suffers because, and then many people lose their job. They don't know why they lose their job. They think because investigation did not conclude that you were the thief, then nobody thought you were the thief, or nobody knew you were the thief. When the time is up for you, they just tell you to go, because they really can't. I mean, if you're so smart, you know how to, twist the entire procurement process, always getting the person you want to get in, and you always do whatever you want. They'll just let you, But when the time comes, you have to go, right? So if you lose your job because of an integrity issue, because somebody doesn't trust you, because you cannot be selfless in how you do your job, you only find yourself to blame. You only have yourself to blame. Okay, so integrity is a big aspect. Some of the I hope I can work on this research just to find out the real impact of backhand deals within the industry. One of the reasons why I've probably not worked on that integrity angle in my research is because with somebody who is doing deals, respond and say, yes, I'm doing deals. And somebody who is not doing deals, who is only suspecting that they are doing deals, that's conjecture, isn't it? But the truth is, with high level of integrity, we have clarity to go through a thorough procurement process, get the best value for the organization. That substantially reduces our cost. So operational excellence, integrity is a big part of it. And then you have data-driven decision-making through facility management software. Manual processes, let's start getting out of manual processes. I forgot. Customer is angry now. Something has stopped because I forgot to do what I should have done yesterday. Oh, I did it this much and I said, tomorrow I'll continue, but there has something else. So every time you have human error, issues happen, right? Technology is not so much about the software that automates. It starts with the data that we gather, data that we can, you can pick up data into spreadsheets and logbooks and stuff, but it helps you identify trends, help you predict all kinds of needs in the organization and make informed decisions. Okay, so it's key to driving for operational excellence. Just finding means of automations. They are very simple automations you can deploy. Some automations can just be, formulas in a spreadsheet. Some can be smart sheets that people can fill things at the back end, and then you have information at the front end. Different, before you get to software like CMMS, that you can now say, okay, let's look into how to upload our assets and set up a regimen for the various maintenance activities, scheduling them, creating work orders automatically, and so on and so forth, so that you know exactly what you are doing in such a system. Driving technologies deeper is this whole thing about the buildings themselves evolving. Things are not staying the way they were. Every time you see a new building coming up, expect new technologies to be built into them. Sensors and controllers are the basis for smart technologies, because they are the core of building management, building automation systems, building management system, automation system, energy management systems, and security, fire, and safety systems. All of them depend on a tool that can sense, read data, temperature, energy, flowing or quantity, water, flowing or quantity, pressure, and so on and so forth. All of these sensors will pick, and then once that data is integrated in a system that connects to a controller. So a typical controller is the light switch. If I switch it up, it's off. Switch it down, it's on. That's a controller. That's a typical controller, right? Another controller that you probably have is your float switch. When the bulb is raised to a certain level, it knocks off power from the pump. So the pump stops pumping, right? So those are controllers. And then the sensors are the ones, for example, the flow switch, the bulb that goes up, right? So as it's going up, so my level is going up, going beyond a certain level. I tell the controller to stop. So a sensor senses and the controller acts, right? Now, what makes a building smart is the fact that I can now set a logic into how sensors and controllers interact. So if a sensor senses, it doesn't need to tell me anymore. Usually it will tell me, oh, in that space, there is too much carbon in the air. Oxygen level is very low. Can you open a damper to allow fresh air in, right? So I'll do something to allow fresh air in. When the air is enriched, it tells me, oh, I've sensed enough oxygen for the population now, right? So you can put off or shut down that damper. Now, that is still a management system that I'm involved in, but an automation, something that makes the building smart, has to be the sensor, take it to the controller to make it act. That way, my presence in that flow is removed. A typical example that you're all familiar with is the light controller, your security light controller, the ones that you just set it up there. Once it's day, the light goes off. Once it's dark, there's a photocell sensor there. That sensor, the one that knows that, I'm not sensing enough light anymore. This must be darkness. And then sends a signal to the switch to say, yeah, come on, right? So these have now evolved into very complex systems in our buildings. And as facility managers, we cannot be, unable to understand this. We must be part of the process of, managing such buildings for operational excellence. Okay. Same thing applies to energy management systems, being able to pick up energy use across your facilities at circuit level, individual sockets and switches and lights and AC points. The entire distribution board or panel can be monitored independently, and they can all be brought into a dashboard in your phone or laptop for you to see what is going on at this time, real time 24/7 in your facility. And then that applies also to your security, fire, and safety systems. So technology, can be used for access control. I don't have to have a card. I can walk through, and the door now knows me. I've been programmed into it. It knows me. It opens for me, and I go past, right? And if it doesn't know you, sorry, you can't speak English to it. It will be there and locks you out and things like that. So you can do that for fire systems, for safety systems. There's automation. There's complex approach to operational excellence for the built environment. This operational excellence is quite broad, so I'm going to continue with this same topic next week. I know we have a schedule with other topics, but I'm going to, do this one again next week, and then we can now move other sessions into future launches. So if you've enjoyed this, please, in any of our social media where you find yourself, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, you know what to do. Thumbs up, like, share, connect, become, a follower, whatever the social media platform requires, and share the link, prepare more people to be here for another wonderful session next week. But we're going to continue this. There's a whole lot we're going to cover. We're going to wrap up on the automation. We're going to look at how to use user engagement and leadership in driving operational excellence. We're going to talk about benchmarking with a bit more detail, and then we're going to go to setting strategies, on how to achieve operational excellence. And I hope we can finish everything by next week, but let's just keep going. Okay. So I'm going to turn the time out for questions. I have just 5 minutes, so if I can take a question here, let me allow you, if you raise your hand, to give you the chance to ask your question. If you don't ask your question here and you want to ask it in the group, I hope we have the links to join our platforms: Telegram, Facebook, WhatsApp. Have we seen those? Yes, I see the WhatsApp chats. Please connect. I see the link for joining the FM diploma, the promo at facilitymanagement.facilitymanagementcourses.com. So why am I not seeing the Telegram joining link? Max-Migold team, are you guys there? Telegram and Facebook.
I'm copying the Telegram
for joining the FM diploma promo at. All right. So, any hand up? Max-Migold team, are you guys there?
Yes, sir. Yeah. I'm copying the Telegram. I'm working on it, sir.
Hey.
I'm copying the Telegram.
And then we have a Facebook group as well. All right, so that's our session for today. Next week, we'll have another fantastic session. What makes this exciting for me is the number of people that we have on it. So what you can do is share the flyers and share the link for as many of your colleagues as possible to join, so that we can reach as many people as possible. We have a big industry to build. We cannot stay small the way we are right now. Most people who are in facility management today don't know they are in facility management, because they call them internal services, they call them procurement, they call them corporate services, they call them support services, and all kinds of things in the organization. So get as many people as possible to learn the things that they should be learning to be better at the jobs that they do. Okay. All right. So thank you so much. I hope to see you again next week, Thursday. Until then, bye for now.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. God bless you, sir.
So much.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you very much.
Thank you.